Imagine getting viral on TikTok for dances with your sister and later finding yourself lost in a cult. Well, that's exactly what happened to creator Miranda Derrick, and her family are now coming out in a shocking new documentary on Netflix. The three-part docuseries titled Dancing for the Devil, the 7M TikTok cult hit the streaming platform last week and has started a massive conversation with its allegations of a cult-like atmosphere inside 7M Films, a management company that works with TikTok dancers. This is a LA-based company that was founded in 2021 by a man named Robert Shin. Robert is also the leader of Shekinah Church, and in the series, Netflix reveals how several former members and families of current members have accused 7M and Shekinah Church of using manipulative and core tactics to control influencers. These tactics allegedly include isolating members from their families, seizing their bank accounts, and requiring them to pay large sums of money to the church and Robert himself. In the series, they introduced the dance duo Miranda and Melanie, who are known as the Wilking Sisters on TikTok, and grew to have a massive following of millions. The two had moved to Los Angeles together to pursue a career in the dance world and had found success being a pair on social media, but everything changed after they received a message from a man named James Derrick, who goes by Bash online. The Wilking family and Miranda were never the same after this. Now, this all started around the time of the pandemic, and to this day, the story is still currently unfolding, and Netflix sat down with Miranda's family as they spoke about what exactly happened to her. Melanie talks about how she and Miranda ended up collabing with James after he messaged them, and after that, they were in a group chat together. Melanie ended up getting pulled from the group chat, and Miranda and James were then talking to each other, and they ended up dating Melanie's parents. Dean and Kelly said James had stayed with them for a few weeks during the pandemic and would often visit, and the family grew really close to him. And as James was getting familiar with Miranda's family, she returned that energy by getting close with the people in his life. James had a videographer named Isaiah, who is the son of Robert Shin, the founder of 7M, the management company, and also the leader of Shekinah Church. James and Isaiah would have content days to shoot dance videos with friends, and during these days, James had started to tell his friends that they need to come and listen to Isaiah's dad at church. And it wasn't the only time that Robert would see some of James's friends, as outside of church, he was introduced to them when they were all at Isaiah's house, and James was one day talking about struggling to keep up and get brand deals. Robert overheard this conversation and definitely thought that he could make a profit off of these people. He decided then and there that he was going to start his own management company, which was 7M. Melanie says that when she would get on the phone with her sister after she started dating James, that she would say her and James were hanging out at Isaiah's house, and one of the things that they would do was read the Bible together, which she found a little odd because their family wasn't particularly religious growing up, and the family found it even more interesting that James was now signed to a management company that was connected to a church. In fall of 2020, Melanie went to meet Miranda for a dinner party at James' house. Then things took a turn at this dinner, and Melanie says people were talking in tongue, and at the end of it, she was told that she was safe from going to hell. After they did this little ritual, Miranda ended up joining the church along with James as their relationship progressed, and the two of them spent a lot of time at Robert's house together. Her parents questioned it, but they were reassured that everything was fine. It was all normal, but it wasn't. Robert was promising these dancers that he was going to make them rich, told people that he could get them houses, cars, and so much more. He gave them access to people who would film and edit their dance movies for them, as well as exclusive invitation-only church services. Melanie had decided that this wasn't for her, but Miranda was still very much a part of this dance church content world, and 7M was taking a 20% management fee, and then they were encouraged to give a 10% tithe to the church, 10% man of God, and then 10% offering, and by the end of it, it was revealed that any money that they were given during their time at 7M was essentially all paid back to the church in some ways, leaving them with no profit. One of the former members was given $100,000, and after going through all the bank records, it was revealed that he had paid $98,000 to the church. Miranda's family says by 2021 she had been disconnected with them, so much as that she ended up missing her own grandfather's funeral. 30 minutes before she was supposed to go to the airport for the flight, she called her parents and said that she had COVID, and her family just felt like it was so strange that she wouldn't even come. Like a few days after she started ghosting her family and they wanted answers from her, they got the police involved to see if she was at least all right, and police went to talk to her. They said that she was with a friend, and this friend was described to be Robert Shin's daughter, Chloe, so she had gotten herself very involved in this church. Her parents then flew out to try and talk to her, and she ended up telling them that she couldn't couldn't come to the funeral because she needed permission from someone closer to God, and in that moment they said that they realized that they lost their daughter and she was just not the same person anymore. Former members of 7N said that they were taught by the church that they needed to die to their family in order to save them, meaning this was the way to ensure your family were to go to heaven. So by dying to your family, aka cutting them off, you're closer to God, and your journey will also bring them to heaven with you. One day Miranda ended up getting engaged to James, and her family found out through social media. It also seemed like they had gotten married in Vegas. She had also changed her last name to Viz, which is Derek. Miranda's parents decided to start calling out to other people's parents from 7N and see if anyone had a similar experience with their child cutting them off. There were others, but there wasn't much that they could do because these are all adults in this church content, like Cole. And though their families believe that they are being brainwashed into participating in this group and cutting off their families and that they're being taken advantage of, there is nothing legally that could have been done. Melanie said Miranda had sent some emails, but it just never sounded like her, and the warning was nothing that she would have ever said, but they kind of held out hope that maybe one day she would snap out of it, and they're still kind of hoping that. But in 2021, Melanie decided to go confront Miranda by going to her live performance of the Nutcracker, and she thought that maybe they would have this nice reuniting moment, but she says that they saw each other, they were both in shock, and Melanie went to go hug her, and Miranda was just stiff cold, no emotion. Her parents also tried to confront her about things, but they said she was an unrecognizable person now. Since Miranda and Melanie were a dance duo on social media, people were wondering why she was posting old videos of them and wondering where Miranda was, so she tried her best to keep things going and address them without revealing what was actually going on.
Hey everyone! So many of you have noticed that Miranda and I have not been in videos together lately, and I've been getting a lot of messages asking where she's at, what's going on, all of that. So I'm here to let you know that Miranda has chosen to pursue some other opportunities at this time and just take a little break from the Wilking Sisters brand. I will still be here making videos. My goal is to always put a smile on your face, and sometimes you just need a little change. And Miranda's still my best friend. I love her so much. I will always support her, and I just hope that I can have all of your support on this new journey. Love you guys. Mwah. Bye.
Miranda later ended up hiding her family on social media, and in February 2022, Melanie and her parents were desperate to get Miranda back and went live on TikTok to talk about what was going on.
Miranda, James, all these people that they're with, they're not in control of their lives. Someone else is controlling their lives, and they're all victims of this. And it would be so easy to just forget about, oh, screw her, she doesn't care about us anymore, but we know that's not her.
Miranda was denying what was going on at Shekinah Church, and 7M was denying everything that was being said.
Are you in a cult? No. I'm not in a cult. I'm in a house. I'm in a marriage. But I'm not in a cult.
But past members of the group who did know Miranda said that she would cry sometimes because she missed her family. They were told that this was all for the greater purpose, which is why they still want to talk to their family. And when it comes to Miranda's family speaking out, a former member said they were told that her family was making a fuss because they wanted to control her, and that's what was painted to them after seeing what Miranda's family had to say. James then got on social media to say that there were two sides to every story. He tried to make Miranda's parents out to be the villain, accusing them of not supporting their relationship and being racist. Miranda's family was not backing down, and it is thought that Robert, the leader of 7N and China Church, wanted to find a way to kind of quiet them down. Later in 2022, Miranda told her parents that she wanted to see them, and James and her flew out to Michigan to meet them at a hotel. But Miranda was live on Instagram for their meeting.
Hi guys, we are live. We're in Detroit, Michigan. This is my husband, James. This is my mom, Kelly, and my dad, Dean. Since they wanted to make our lives public, we're gonna go live. Do you guys have anything to say to the live stream?
I love you, Miranda, and I miss you.
Yeah, love you. We're excited to see her in person.
It seemed she was recording to prove to people that she was seeing her family. She wasn't in a cult. But not that many people were buying it. She later wanted to record their entire conversation, and her parents said no, and James and Miranda then asked them to take anything that they had of her off of social media, to not talk about her or shit of church or 7M, and they refused, and they all let former members of the group talk about how Robert was panicking. He emphasized how Miranda's parents were bad and didn't want anyone in the group to start thinking negatively about what was going on. He didn't want members to think that they were in a cult, and so things got even stricter. He asked members to sign in this, that information about the group had already started leaking out to the public, and members of the group also started talking to each other about the weird stuff that they had seen and experienced. Robert then began telling people to post with their families and start going out, which made members realize even more that this was a cult, because he wasn't saying this before, but they felt like now he was trying to combat accusations by making them pretend it's not a cult. Miranda was still very much a part of the group, despite more articles coming out about Robert and people who had been part of the church years prior, before any of the talent management business happened, and these people spoke out saying that so many have suffered at the hands of Robert. Apparently, when he started the church, it was all in good faith, but his want for control grew. He put his members of church to work for very little pay, and they were running all of his businesses for him, and he was taking majority of the profit. He controlled where people live, what they did, where they went. They would have to get permission to buy things, and he's also been accused of taking advantage of the women, convincing them that being with him was this godly act and would purify them. It's truly horrific. His own daughter even left the church, which was extremely telling to members and caused people to leave. But here he is continuing his manipulative tactics, just in a different form, and the former members of the church couldn't believe Robert was still around doing the things that he was when they heard the reports of this new TikTok cult management group that was connected to the church. It does seem that when it came to the dancers versus the people that were just a member of the Shekinah church, he did a lot more to keep them kind of hooked. He was getting them deals, huge brand opportunities, performances, talk show appearances like going on Ellen, and all of these connections and opportunities seemed to be an incentive to stay in 7M despite the cult-like nature of it all. But none of the accusations could convince Miranda to leave, but she did reach out to her family again, as Robert had basically told the members to do so in order to quiet down more cult accusations. She then started to see her family, but they felt that it was more just for the public, and they revealed that she had also said that they were not to bring up the church with her, or that she would stop talking to them. The family was warned by former members that they were only making Robert happy by not bringing up anything church-related with her, but they felt they had already lost her so much that they were holding on to any bit of a connection that they could get from her. Now, when it comes to Robert, he has been sued. He has also tried to sue former members before they could sue him as well. No criminal charges have been brought against him though, and he's denied allegations made against him. There is an ongoing civil lawsuit against Robert, and the trial is set for next year. Miranda's family has tried to also build a criminal case against Robert in an attempt to try and get their daughter to wake up and leave this cult, but police had said that they couldn't arrest him unless multiple women came forward with their story about Robert. But even after several women did, he was still not arrested, and nothing has happened to him. Miranda and James are still believed to be affiliated with Robert. Miranda's family does see her, but they still don't bring up anything church related with her, and since the documentary has been released, Miranda's turned off comments on TikTok, and James has also limited them on his account. Miranda has been posting like usual, avoiding anything being reported since the documentary's release. Melanie has spoken out though since the release, saying, "My parents and I would like to start by thanking everyone from the bottom of our hearts for all the love and support. I held off sharing this project until after my honeymoon, but now that I'm back, I wanted to share the heartbreaking documentary. My family and I were a part of this opportunity was made possible by the beautiful people who listened to our cry for help and took action, opening up about our family's circumstances, and filming the documentary was extremely difficult, but it has brought so much light to a terrible situation. Since the beginning of this project, we have witnessed many members break free from Robert and his associates. Sharing our story helped many under Robert's control question their circumstances and ultimately walk away. We hope this documentary continues to raise awareness and shows that social media often hides harsh realities. We are grateful that many who have broken free have joined us in our fight for justice. Thankfully, since going public in 2022, we have reunited with my sister, who even attended my wedding. We believe that one day my sister and the other victims will realize their love for their families and faith was exploited. When that happens, we will be here for them without judgment. We have all been hurt, but believe our family will get through this. People will become more aware and educated about high control groups, and just justice will be We serve thank you again for your love and support. We could never have done this without it. So she's still saying that her sister and others have not yet realized what has happened to them, and they're still waiting for the day when they do wake up and come to terms with things. This whole story is just truly so insane, and to think that Maren James and others are still making content under 7M is truly so upsetting. I mean, all of this is out there, these articles are out there, these accusations against Robert, and still they are just excusing it and connected to this church and this management group. It is crazy, but they are just so sucked in believing the things that he is telling them. Hopefully one day they realize what's happened. But that's what was discussed in this new Netflix DU series and where some of the members currently are today. Let me know what you guys think about all of this. If you watched the series, if you've seen Miranda, if you knew the Wilking sisters, tell me your thoughts in the comments. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you in the next video.